Hello, and welcome to the 12th episode of the CamerataCast. This is the real 12th episode. We had a bit of a mishap recording an episode a few days ago, but now we are right on track. This is Andres Marquez, your host as always, and already short-circuiting. Anyways, why don't we introduce ourselves? You two amazing illustrators from up and down the California coastline.
Hi, I'm Ivy Rose. I am a Bay Area artist. I've been living in San Francisco for the past 5 years, making zines and about um, queerness as well as harm reduction and just daily life.
Radical. How about you, Bianca?
Yeah, so my name's Bianca. I'm from San Bernardino. I'm the creative artoriety and I'm a mixed media artist.
Radical. Yeah, so I had the pleasure of meeting y'all both through circumstances that are still vague to me. I talk about this on almost every cast, but I remember like half the times how I met people that I talk to through Instagram. Usually it's just through like, oh, I know this person and this person knows you, so therefore I now know you. Um it's just it gets so convoluted sometimes. But in any case, yeah, we got to work together on an art zine, resolution zine, which was just a little pamphlet featuring a whole bunch of works and interviews with different artists about New Year's resolutions, and that's how I guess we got to form our sort of social media relationship. Yeah, um, yeah, I did want to ask, kind of just to, I guess, settle into the waters a bit. What started both of y'all off on your creative paths? What kind of kick-started y'all on your artistic journeys?
Oh, I guess for me, drawing and creating is something that I've just always done. Um, but I guess I never really had the confidence in myself and my work to, I guess, actually do something with it. A lot of it was just I guess it was fear. Like I wasn't so confident in my art. And it took a lot of pushing from like my family, especially from my dad to like just to put it out there. And so finally I just took one big leap and then all of a sudden my art was out there. And last year was actually my first full year of publicly sharing my art.
Oh wow, just last year.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, how does it feel to, I guess, sort of almost immediately jump from, keeping your art in the basement, as it were, to showing it to the world at large? How was that feeling?
Um it was kind of scary. I just feel like my art is so sacred to myself that I don't know, I was just so scared to see what other people thought of it. And once I finally did, it was like, oh, it's actually not that bad.
I get that. How about you, Ivy? What about your what started you on your artistic journey?
Yeah, I mean, what you said was very relatable. I had been doodling in the margins of my school notes for years and years, and once I moved to the Bay Area for school, I kind of dove into this one sketchbook that I was given, kind of obsessively, and I was creating just so much content in this sketchbook that the circle that I surrounded myself with was very encouraging. And then I happened to meet at Clarion Alley, which is a block that's full of murals in San Francisco. I linked up with the creators of Mission Mini Comics. They've been around in San Francisco for about 20 years. And they make really prolific mini comics about harm reduction, and really goofy shit too, like flat earthers, all that kind of stuff. And some of those dudes, when they saw like how prolific my content was as well, I just felt like a little doodler, and these were all like artists who were really out there making it a profession, and they really gave me that push I needed. And I was like tabling alongside them for zine fests, and eventually I just started applying to zine fests on my own. So yeah, I really pay tribute to them. Oh, and also animators from shows like Adventure Time.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought what they did was so cool, and then they also branch off outside of big network names like Cartoon Network just to make their own shit that they think is cool. So that's what got me into being like, okay, I just want to do stuff like this for the rest of my life.
I absolutely love it. We were actually talking about Adventure Time over messaging like about a week ago, and I've kind of got myself settled in so that in a couple days, once all my work's done, I'm just gonna restart it. I got maybe
Nice.
like a couple episodes in after the Stakes miniseries, and then I kind of dropped off. But I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see it through to the end. A lot of people have been telling me that the end was like they had mixed feelings about it, but at least it had a good sort of resolution, as it were. I don't know. Uh, yeah, Adventure Time. I'm super excited to start that again.
It's a good one. It's cool that it all came from like a really silly short that came out on Nickelodeon from Pendleton Ward like back in I think 2004, 2005, and then it just caught traction in 2010 and now it's like a universe.
Yeah, that's right. I had completely forgotten about the pilot. It was like 10 or so minutes long. The animation was almost completely different. It was a lot more like curvy and wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was silly.
Yeah, well, if you don't mind me kind of not necessarily a tangent, but Ivy had brought up, I guess, some of the people that she was brought up around in terms of her artistic circle. So I did want to ask as well for some of the artistic influences that y'all draw from, whether or not they're actually artists or pieces of art, or maybe just experiences that y'all have had in your life, or parts of your routine. Um, yeah, anything that you feel feeds into your creation.
um, I feel like my art stems a lot from my perspective of things. It's not necessarily one certain thing. It's just like different little tangents of who I am, and just like put into to form, I guess. Yeah. So
Oh,
like it just like I don't know. It's just mostly like my emotions and feelings or outlooks of myself at certain times, and I'm able to release that by putting it through my art.
oh, cool. Would you say that you're how would you say? Would you say that you're consistently creating, or would you say that creation comes, I suppose, once inspiration strikes, whenever that might be?
Yeah, I'm not a very consistently creative person. I often get a lot of um, creative blocks. I just feel like I get stuck so many times. So when it comes, like I have to immediately dive in, or I know I'll lose it.
Oh, I getcha. Sometimes I'll have like an idea for something, like a song or something, at like 1 in the morning. I'll be like,
Yeah.
I just want to sleep, but I don't want to lose this. How about yourself, Ivy?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really beautiful way to put it. Like just striking when inspiration is hot. I feel like over the years I've kind of transformed into like being like my creative form, but also being my boss. I feel like sometimes I kind of stand over my shoulder too much, and I'm like, hey, I think it'd be really cool if you did this. Just try it. I don't know how you're going to do, but it's what we're going to try right now. And that's been a really cool challenge for me, to try to get into different forms, especially for like self taught artists. Um, you know, I try to strike when inspiration is hot or when I, need to get the pen to the paper. But sometimes when I draw for myself, it's a literal challenge because I'm genuinely challenging myself to try something different.
Oh, awesome. If you don't mind me asking, when you say you're your own boss, can you elaborate on that a bit? Is that more from an artistic standpoint, or because I imagined it coming from sort of like a business-ish standpoint?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I mean, I don't want to seem too businessy because I'm not business savvy at all. I'm more thinking just as like someone trying to push the limits of what I think I'm capable of doing. Uh, for example, I just got into screen printing t-shirts, and I guess it's just like I hear what people around me who see my art, the feedback I get, I take it really deep and I try to like push myself to do that. Like I think once at a zine fest, someone like lifted up a comic and they were like, "Hey, is this comic about shitty men?" And it wasn't. It had nothing to do with that. But then I was like, maybe there's like a need for a zine like this. So I made a zine called Cat Miss Call, and that was like a compilation of like just instances where I'd been catcalled or like some folks will say like, "Oh, I love this design. I'd love to see it on a t-shirt." And then I figure out how to screen print or even just like silly stuff. Like I'll see an episode of Bob Ross and I'll be like, "I don't know how to do that." And then I try and it doesn't come out like Bob Ross, but at least I'm figuring something out, I hope.
oh, that's awesome. It seems like there's a natural curiosity that leads you down different paths once you start at a certain trailhead.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're gonna kind of get into the meat of this conversation. Um, I've had a couple different conversations like this, and I still like to preface, um, I guess, these conversations with the Camerata podcast. I'd like to focus mainly on the arts and creative work, but I do recognize that there are a lot of important conversations that need to be had about significant topics regarding current events and politics with the big quotation marks around it. Um, yeah, and I just feel like any platform that can and any platform that's willing should at least use some of its time to either address or make discussion about these sorts of issues, as it were. And yeah, I guess that's why, I ask people like, "Hey, do you mind if this is a political conversation at least for a bit?" But yeah, enough of me rambling. I did want to ask, for both of you, what do you feel are the things and events in the world that are the greatest concern to you personally? It can be a matter of within your community, or to you as an artist, or you as an individual, or perhaps as a citizen of the world. Um, where do your concerns lie?
I guess I'll
Oh,
jump in on this one. Or Bianca, you want to go?
oh no, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking there's like a lot. This is like I mean to ask this question in 2021, like 2020 was such a heavy year. Um like there's so many news lines every day that kind of strike at the heart. Uh but I think with like art, like creating art, it's what like gets filtered through are like usually the issues that are most genuinely like important to me when I create that I want to like put down on paper to kind of speak for the bigger issues at hand. Um, yeah. And it's also like helpful, I think, when I volunteer my art to help for movements. Like when there were riots happening, I like offered to create free signs and posters for folks. And I see a lot of artists donating their funds to different organizations that really ring true to them. Like, and I did that for a while for a shelter that was like exclusively for trans folks in New Orleans area. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think as far as like everything is so political because we're all born into this really political climate, but um some things don't necessarily have like the word politics in mind when I do them, even though they're seen as political. It's just what strikes me as someone like with my with my kind of background as like very genuine and righteous to do.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so I guess regarding some of these causes that you've, created art towards or donated towards, do you mind elaborating on I guess some of the causes or organizations that you might have worked with? Because I have seen a few of the pieces that you did, um, not necessarily for charity, but I like to use mutual aid or redistribution as a more specific term. But yeah, like who else have you worked for? If you don't mind going into that.
Oh yeah, I didn't really work for them, but when I saw House of Tulip, that's the organization I was talking about in Louisiana. That was an organization I donated a lot of funds to uh, in exchange for like these name portraits. And I actually ended up just donating like a bunch because I liked the organization so much. Shelters really stand out to me because I work in I'm a social worker, so I worked in a shelter for a while, a family shelter where I taught art. And to me, that just teaching art to like homeless children, that was like a very political act because that's um, that's teaching homeless children like self-worth and self-confidence. And when you teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. That's what it felt like I was doing. And now as I work in harm reduction, um, it's as easy as making a sign like ask me about easy Suboxone. Suboxone is a drug when people are hooked on heroin. If they just quit cold turkey, they get really strong withdrawals, which are like sometimes worse symptoms than if a person is using heroin. So Suboxone like eases people off of heroin into like a different kind of lifestyle if that's what they desire. So really it's like the organizations that sometimes I literally work for or sometimes I just like. It's just me figuring out a way to give them my time and energy in a way that I think would benefit them.
Oh, that's righteous. I'm all behind that. Bianca, how about some things in the world? Oh goodness, is everybody okay?
Oh yeah.
My bad. That frightened me. I get easily startled. I'll cut this out. Um, Bianca, how about some things in the world that you find, I suppose, either concerning or, at the very least, interesting in terms of social and cultural impact?
Well, I guess for me, my biggest goal as an artist was to bring positive attention to my community, and I noticed that once COVID hit, there was so much withdrawal from my community, even more so than before, because not a lot of people go down to San Bernardino to shop or to look around. And now that nobody's going out, a lot of the businesses were just dropping like flies.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it's um just trying to rebuild the community and trying to bring it back, because even the big businesses that people find, I guess, I don't know the word, like big corporations that people are against, they bring money to our community, and once those start pulling away from San Bernardino, we're really losing so much money. And um I don't know. And it's
Mm.
just it's crazy to see that.
Yeah, it's something that's happened in, I guess, my hometown as well, out in Whittier. Whittier was already kind of not necessarily desolate when it comes to the arts, or small businesses, but the pandemic really just kicked a lot of people around. I want to ask you're in San Bernardino, I suppose.
Yes.
Have you seen any sort of, I guess, recovery in whether in the arts or in small businesses or even larger businesses. Have you seen any sort of comeback?
Yeah, so I've noticed that a lot of more people have been at least attempting to come together during the pandemic to bring more foot traffic. And it's really awesome to see so many people coming together to try to uplift the community and just bring it together and actually make it a community that people want to be in. And I've seen I believe it's Vintage Vault or something like that. I had done they're doing art walks throughout Viva La Boba each month, and it's just like little things like that that bring people together to just bring people into the community.
That's beautiful.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah,
What
it's
what?
really
Oh,
nice to
my bad.
see.
That makes me want to visit San Bernardino. I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, what was the name of that group? I suppose that was organizing those art walks.
I believe it was Bipolar Vintage. They do art walks near Viva La Boba, and they I believe I did a table at the first one. It was really nice. They had the tables all spaced out, and it was right outside in the little alleyway. And it was really nice. It was really nice to see everyone just trying to bring life back into San Bernardino.
Yeah, that does sound kind of like a hopeful exchange right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
speaking of, is there I guess you've already kind of touched on it, Bianca, but are there things that you see in your community, in the world, both of y'all, that that are giving you hope and kind of uplifting you in this moment? Because it's been a hell of a year. It's been just full of every sort of shitstorm that could be possibly thrown at humanity. But I personally do try and focus on the hopeful things, and I try and focus on the solutions that people are presenting. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to ask for y'all's perspectives on that.
A tangible thing that gives me hope is just even when I saw when you sent that question to prep for this interview, like the first thing my brain could think of was like AOC. She gives me hope. like
Yes.
yeah, like she's a very tangible thing that gives me hope that she is in office at some capacity, that she speaks her mind, and even just like the advice she gives, even on Vogue, she was talking about internal beauty, and like in her documentary she said you have to get rejected 10 times to get one yes, and that just meant a lot for me to hear. Like, I mean, I like uh not to be impolite, but like fuck all the old white people in office. Like, like it's really exciting that AOC's out there doing her thing. But an intangible thing that is making me always have hope is just when people like, it's kind of cheesy, but are just like freaking kind to each other and just like wish each other joy and like have a sense of community. It's intangible, but it is really important.
Oh yeah, I feel intangible. I guess that is in the in the sense of not being able to hold it, but that I feel that produces like an extremely palpable feeling. Just people encouraging each other, people outwardly giving their own hope and their own love to folks like that. That's beautiful, and it's a beauty that you can feel.
Absolutely.
Bianca, how about yourself?
Yeah, I would say the same thing as Ivy. It's just really nice to see people still trying to get together even when um it's getting really really tough, and it has been a super super tough year. And it's just nice to see that people are still attempting to be kind towards each other and still attempting to build up like yeah, a community.
Hmm.
Awesome. If y'all don't mind me asking, this isn't necessarily a how would you say, this isn't a question that we prepared for or anything. But speaking of community, I did kind of want to ask y'all, and this is something that we typically touch on later in the episode, but since we've been talking so much about our influences and hope, I did want to ask, who are some people that you're aware of in your artistic communities, whether, in your actual locale or just within the circles that you communicate with and work with? Who are some folks and organizations that inspire you currently, and who I guess you just want to shout out? That's the best way to put it.
I love this question. Shout out to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence in San Francisco. They are a very radical group of drag queens who just show a lot of support to their community in like such a big variety of ways. Another shout out to Mission Mini Comics because I don't know where I would be if I hadn't met them. Shout out, to the both of you for holding space like this. So there's so much art in California and even in this country, like seeing all the zine fests persevere and get like so stoked for 2022 when large social gatherings can happen again. I'm grateful for all of that. Shout out to all of that.
Righteous, righteous. How about you, Bianca?
I my big shout out would be to Amanda Jade, from Keep Your Crown Right. She honestly gave me such a big opportunity to really dive in and be a part of my community. And I'm honestly so blessed to have met her. She really made me, just like even being around her, she's so inspirational in everything that she says, and she just gives off good energy, and I'm so thankful for her and the opportunities that she's given me. I'm also very thankful for the production group Future First. They're so helpful for me. They're amazing, and everything that they've done so far within a year has just been phenomenal.
Awesome.
And
Oh,
I
my bad.
think, oh, I'm sorry.
No, no.
Yeah, and I
Excuse me.
think the last big shout out would be to Maestro's Music, because they also gave me another big opportunity. Well, I guess it wasn't big, but for me it was big because it was my first time actually jumping into being a public artist. Yeah.
Oh, sick. If you don't mind me asking, what did you do for Maestro's music?
So they're really just like a backyard show type of group, but they were having artists like sell their stuff, and I had messaged them about it, but I had totally forgotten that I had talked to them about it. And so when the time came, they were like, "Did you still want to do this?" And like my heart dropped because I forgot about it.
Oh,
And that was like the first time I took the big leap of faith and just had grabbed whatever I had and took it to the show to sell.
Oh, that's so awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I dig that. Yeah. I'm gonna give a couple shout outs. First off, I want to give big old props to Haley Roper and to Josie Peisty. These two folks are I'm gonna cut this out, but if you notice me kind of lagging in my speech, it's because I'm getting like immense feedback in my headphones and I hear myself talking like half a second after I speak.
Oh, dang.
So if you hear me
Wow.
just kind of like lagging, that's my bad. But anyways, yeah. Haley Roper and Josie Peisty, these two artists are amazing illustrators, musicians, crafters out around the OC area. I've gotten to chat with both of them at length. They're incredibly inspiring people, and regarding art walks and stuff like that, these two folks have been involved with a number of little art walks in parks around the Anaheim and Santa Ana areas that I've gotten to go to and see a whole bunch of local creators at. I don't know. they've always kept me connected to a whole bunch of small but thriving mini creative scenes around the OC area. And yeah, they're pretty cool, and I wanted to shout them out. Also, want to give big ol' props to Artist in the Alley. That is a gallery slash event space in Pomona, California, around the downtown Pomona area. We got to hold a film showing there before Corona came around and just kicked the crap out of all of us.
Yeah.
But they have the most beautiful venue. It's just you walk through this little alley, and just through this big garage door, there is a room that is just decorated from floor to ceiling with pieces of art and with, mirrors, and there's a big old spiral staircase in the middle of it. It's so fucking rad. But yeah, these folks are also organizing art walks around the Pomona area. So yeah, shout outs to them for trying to keep the creative scene in that area alive. Um, yeah, these folks are doing good work. Ah, my bad. Cracked my neck. Yeah. So, if you don't mind me going back to, I guess, your individual creative processes, I did want to ask what I guess to what extent y'all feel influenced by politics, again with the big quotation marks around it. I hate that word, but it just sometimes you just have to use it when you don't know another word. But yeah, to what extent do you feel that politics and current events influences y'all's art? And would you say that it's more representative of what you hope for, or more representative of what you're concerned about or what you might be afraid of?
It kind of comes in waves for me. Like, I don't know, I feel like I'll have maybe a month or a week or however long where the news really concerns me and where it just feels like it's at the forefront of my mind. Uh, and then there are other periods of time where I take a step back and I like I do this for myself and I would want to spread this message for other people. It is a really big political thing for your community just to take care of yourself and just to be a really good model of what taking care of yourself and finding joy in and taking time for yourself means. Um because I can talk about, what's going on in the world for a very long time. But then I can take a step back and be like, hey, what's going on in my world that's really important to document? I think the most political piece I'm going to come out with, and this is like a long term goal, but I just finished interviewing my grandma who immigrated from Germany during the Holocaust. My family is Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started our interview and I was like asked for her permission for her to talk about that experience, like surviving such a traumatic event, and she was joking. She was like, "Oh my God, I thought it was happening all over again with the storming of the Capitol." And that was so real to hear.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
And that came from a really personal place too. Like I didn't script my grandma to say something like that, but it was very real, you know? So when you dig inside yourself, I think that's when you can find, and it goes even beyond the word politics, just like the most revolutionary content.
yeah. I guess I'm sorry. I'm still kind of reeling from the whole "I thought it was happening again" thing. That was just too real of an event to even process like a month afterwards. If you don't mind me, oh, sorry, were you saying
Oh, I
something?
just said seriously.
If you don't mind me asking, what sort of format are you going to be releasing this interview in? Is it going to be like a zine?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about it because this is definitely uh I really want to pay so much respect on this. So I'm still playing around with it. I actually read graphic novel Mouse for the first time just to figure out like what's already been done in terms of illustrated stories about the Holocaust.
Yeah.
So I think I would probably I'm almost considering oh, are you guys there? The audio kind of cut.
Oh,
Oh,
can you
you're
hear
there?
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, just checking.
How about you,
But
Bianca?
okay, cool.
Um, I guess my art, it's
Oh,
more of
oh,
a.
my bad. Ivy's audio cut, and we were just asking if you
Oh,
were still
yeah, I'm
there.
sorry.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool. But long story short, I think I'm just gonna do like a panel comic. Yeah, I think a panel comic. But yeah, zine format definitely.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Bianca,
Yeah,
how about you?
sorry.
No, it's okay.
So I guess for me, my art is more of a therapeutic thing. I try to stay away from too harsh things because I don't think it's something that I could personally handle. And when I do something like that, it's more of just a way for me to release anything that I'm feeling.
Mm.
I get that. Um, how can I say this? A thought came to my head. When you say therapeutic, do you feel that when you create, it's kind of like, how would you say, not necessarily venting, but putting your emotions somewhere, manifesting them, or is it a different sort of feeling?
I guess it would be sort of like a way to display how I'm feeling, because I guess I'm not a um I guess a vocal person when it comes to my emotions. So art is just one of the ways that I'm able to display them. Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
cool. I dig that.
That's so beautiful. That's really important too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's always good to find some way to express yourself. Yeah, so I guess the last little question on our list, I did want to ask y'all. One sec, got something in my throat. My bad. Yeah, I wanted to ask y'all. Um, I guess somebody came up to you and was just kind of asking, they wanted, some sort of artistic guidance, and they wanted to ask how you personally might find your place in the world. What would you tell them?
That's a
Well,
big question. Vision.
yeah, cuz I don't know, finding your place, it's kind of a hard thing. It's still something that I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And oftentimes it's kind of really scary to search for, because you don't really know what you're actually searching for a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
times. I guess my big thing is you won't know until you try.
There we
You have
go.
to you have to put yourself out there. You have to actually step out there and try it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You have to go out there with all your excitement and fears, and just keep going and growing, and don't let anything stop you from it, because you just have to keep pushing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking about something regarding, just keeping on. How do
Yeah.
you process what you might perceive as a failure? How do you process that so that you can keep on keeping on?
For me, a failure would be not. I can't word it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's
We can
just.
move on if you want. I just thought,
Oh no,
yeah.
I'm just stuck a little. It's when you just don't get back up, because you're
Mm.
always gonna run into downfalls, and you're not always gonna get the outcome that you expect. But if you just give up afterwards because you're like, this didn't happen for me the way I thought it would. I think I just should give up. That for me is failure. You always have to keep going and keep this positive mindset that okay, so this didn't work out. I'm gonna try this, and this to see if it works out. And it's just a way to keep growing and not let your downfalls hold you back.
I get
Beautiful.
that. Yeah, big old props to that. I can appreciate every word of that. How about yourself, Ivy? What would you tell somebody looking for advice on how to find their place in the world?
Probably to listen to Bianca's answer because that was really good. um, but also, really, yeah, stick to your gut, but also be open to feedback from others. Remember that your decisions are sacred. Who you are is sacred. Your high is sacred. We're all sacred beings, and we deserve to give each other that kind of respect and autonomy. And your journey is yours. Dream big.
I love it. Yeah, big dreams are what we run on here. That's um I don't know. I feel like I've been told more often in my life to stick to the more realistic path than to follow dreams. And I feel that's more of, how do you say, the safe option, as it were. And in some aspects, the safe option can be preferred. But I feel for anybody pursuing a creative life, an art, or a life that's based off of one's artistic creation, then risk is just the biggest part of it.
Mm,
Um, you
Yeah.
definitely have to respect your body and your mind and respect what you feel are your own limits, but also kind of constantly be trying to push past your own expectations and the expectations of others.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, that is, how would you say, it's not necessarily the end of this interview, unless y'all want it to be. We had a big list of questions that we went over for everybody in the audience. We, just had a little list of guiding questions. Um, yeah, I'm really digging this conversation, though.
Me too. It's
Yeah.
nice being with other California artists, even though y'all are really far away.
I know. If you don't mind me asking, you're in San Fran, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or around the San Fran area?
San Francisco, that's where I am.
Oh, that's so sick. What is it like during the winter?
Um, this wintertime, sometimes it is very, very rainy. Other times it's got that cold wind. Yeah, pretty cold wind. But then, like, every so often, it's like cloudless, the sun's out, and you can just chill out at a park, and it's like it's springtime. Um, yeah, actually I grew up in Southern California in the San Fernando Valley, so I'm still
Oh,
enjoying this like Northern California. It still kind of feels like a change of pace being in this weather and everything.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I used to go to Northern California a lot with my family, I guess for little vacations and whatnot. I'd only
Fun.
ever been to San Fran twice, but it's a beautiful city from what I recall.
Y'all should come to San Francisco. I love it here.
I want to so badly. I remember, I'm not even sure if it's still there. Please let me know if it is, Ivy. But there's this big park that has like a whole bunch of museums, centers of learning, however you might call them.
Are you talking
And
about Golden Gate Park?
yeah,
Oh my gosh, that park isn't going anywhere. I was there yesterday. That
well,
that park
well,
isn't going anywhere. That's like the Central Park of San Francisco.
I figured as much, but there's a specific facility there. It's like a center of science,
Oh
and I
yeah, that's
remember.
not going anywhere either.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. I have to go there someday.
Yeah,
Um,
if you go at night, they on Thursday nights they have like a nightlife thing, and they have an albino alligator that just lives there.
Oh
oh,
my
that's
goodness.
that's rad.
Yeah,
That's so
you know there are
bad.
bison that live in that park. It's they just live in that park. They have a little gated part off, and it's just the bison paddock.
That's
What?
crazy.
Yeah,
That's rad.
I love the city. Everybody visit.
I will. Don't you worry. I will be up there someday. Someday soon. Bianca, what's San Bernardino like? I don't think I've ever been there without the intent of passing through.
um, it has its moments. Sometimes there's a lot of things going on. For the most part, though, it's pretty dull, and I would really like to bring the life back to it.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, it seems like some of those folks that you were talking about that are around that area have got that mission on their mind as well.
Yeah. Um, I think that's just what we're trying to do because honestly, San Bernardino has so much potential. There's so much that can be done with it, and people just, like how you said, they just pass through because there's such a nasty stigma on it.
Mm.
And it would be really nice to bring it back to its full potential.
Oh, lovely. To be fair, I've never heard any stigma about San Bernardino. Honestly, I think the only time I remember being there was because I was going to a festival in Joshua Tree, or around that area. I guess it was on the way. No,
Um,
was it? I don't even remember. I was there for some reason. Oh, in any
yeah,
case. Ah,
because people look at it like it's so, um, I don't want to say it, but dirty.
Mm.
And I don't know, it just breaks my heart because that's my home. I don't want my home to be seen as dirty. Like, I don't know.
hmm. I don't know. I I wouldn't really have any experience to base that off of. What do you feel are the best parts of the city? What do you feel like is the life of that city?
Definitely the small businesses. There's new ones coming up, like in random little corners. I know near Viva La Boba, they just opened, or they're about to open up a new record store, and literally right in the alleyway, there's a an art studio where they do um, like little, I guess, get-togethers for the artists, and
Mm.
it's little pocket businesses like that that are trying to bring life to San Bernardino.
Mm-hmm. I dig that. I love it. I remember seeing a flyer for an art show or a little art walk happening next weekend. So I think if I can find the time, I'll check it out because I've been itching to find a new art walk to browse.
Oh yeah, that's definitely something I was trying to do. I was well, right now I'm trying to find a space to hold it in, but I would like to do I guess like a monthly art walk for San Bernardino. It's just a
Oh, that'd be
matter of finding a space that will allow me to do that.
yeah, that'd be
And
sick.
as of this week, there is an art show coming up at the Garcia Center in San Bernardino.
Yeah, that was it. That was where I found that flyer.
Yeah.
You've really got
Awesome.
me wanting to visit San Bernardino now.
Hey, come whenever you can.
Yeah, we can all make a little road trip out there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, um, I'm about ready to call it. If y'all are, I
Yeah.
thank you once again for wanting to join on this cast. It was a wonderful experience getting to chat with y'all.
Thank you. This has been
Yeah.
really
Thank
lovely.
you.
Yeah, no worries at all. It's been my pleasure. Um, yeah. So before we go, if there's any sort of projects or events that y'all might be a part of soon that you'd wanna to plug, as it were, to shout out, go ahead, and I'll put it in the link in our YouTube, and I'll put it on our Instagram and whatnot.
I'm a part of.
Uh,
Oh, here, you want to go, Bianca? You got this?
No, it's okay. You can go first.
I forgot to mention when we were talking about people we wanted to hype up. I forgot to freaking talk about the Zine Fest that I am a part of organizing, Dear Diary Zine Fest. We're skipping 2021 because we're still in a pandemic, but 2022 we'll be back. Dear Diary Zine Fest. It's a zine fest that caters to the more personal zine side of like the zine community. So TBD when that next event is going to come up, but just big props to Dear Diary Zine Fest. Yeah, thank you.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Is that around the San Francisco area?
Oh yeah, it's a Bay Area Zine Fest. Our venues are usually like always Bay Area, so like Oakland, Berkeley.
Oh, sick, sick.
Nice.
How about yourself, Bianca?
So on March 5th, we're gonna be having a small art show for local artists. It's gonna be hosted by Rotten Jewels on Instagram. It's called the City of San Bernardino Art Show, and it'll be March 5th from 5 to 9 at the Garcia Center for the Arts.
Radical,
And I will
radical.
be there as well.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
You know what? I will be there. I'm gonna jet on down to San Bernardino, and I'm
I
gonna.
hope you do, yeah.
I mean, March 5th, is that Friday or Saturday?
That's Friday.
Yeah, yeah, I'll be there. I'm gonna jet on down.
Nice.
All right. Thank you all once again, and thank you to everybody for listening, and just catching on to the conversation. I will tune in next week with y'all, and we'll talk with a whole bunch of new artists. Uh, Thank you again.
Thank you.
No worries. Oh,
Thank you.
before you log out, I'm gonna cut this part. I'm gonna start recording.